We're here for an Atlanta Candlepin Singles Tour match. I'm Dan Castle. I'll be your host today, working with Bob Lee on the cameras and the other technical aspects. Today we have an A Division match. Tim Douglas is here visiting Rob Linehan, who's home in Millis. And if they shake hands, we get ready to go and start this match. Our first bowler will be our visiting bowler, Tim Douglas. And the format today is the bowlers will be bowling 5 games each, 5 boxes at a time. Our visitor will come up and bowl 5 boxes, and then he'll sit down or wander around, whatever he chooses to do. And the home bowler will come up and bowl 5 boxes. After he's done, we'll switch lanes and do it over again to finish out the game, 1 game at a time. Tim Douglas, our visiting bowler, is throwing the first ball on lane 17, and he's on the 3-pin and leaves a 1-4-7 with a little piece of wood. Tough spare to make, but it's possible. The wood may help. And he's on the inside of the pin, a tad heavy on the head pin, so only that goes. He's left with the 4 and the 7. And he picks up a 10 box to start the match. The winner of each game will be awarded 2 points toward their standings in the ACST playoff race. A total of 14 points will be awarded. There's 5 games, 2 points for each game. 4 points for the bowler that has the highest score of all 5 games, the highest total score. In the event of a tie in a game, each bowler will get 1. If they tie in the total, they'll each get 2. Those points are accumulated during the season, the 18-match season. Tim Douglas on a spare, nicely done. So he's at 20 plus a fill ball after 2. So both bowlers are accumulating points toward the playoffs. The ACST, each division is broken into 2 conferences, a North and a South Conference. This is a South Conference. And then each conference is in 4 groups of 4. So there's 16 bowlers in the South Conference, 16 in the North Conference, 32 in total. The winners of each group will go to the playoffs, as well as the top 3, I believe, following them. And Tim, nice shot, but the 7-pin doesn't go. He had 5 on the fill, so it's a 25 after 2. Had a little bit of a mess down there, but he did a great job picking that up as much as he could. And the 7-pin's gone now. He has a 10 box for 35 after 3. He's taken every pin down so far. And a little bit of a bouncing ball, but he hits the head pin, but unfortunately he gets one of the least favorite leaves out there called the spread eagle. That's the 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 10. Very rarely spared, but it has been done. And Tim picks up the right-hand 3. Most of us go for 3 at a time. Just try to walk out with a 10 box at best. If we get lucky and get a spare, that's great, but it doesn't happen very often. And he goes wide now. He's got a 7 box. That's 42 after 4 boxes. He's coming up into his 5th and final box of the first half of the first game. And you'll hear the bowlers joking with each other. There's a lot of camaraderie in this game. It's quite a community. Some really great people, very supportive of each other. Tim is on the head pin. He gets a late falling on the 5-pin. That breaks up the split. He's only got the 10-pin to shoot for a spare before Rob comes up, and that's what he wants to do. And he's all over it, right on the inside portion of that pin. So after 5 boxes, Tim Douglas sits down with 52 and 1 ball, so a potential 62 if he gets a strike on his next ball. Now we get to see Rob Linehan. Rob is in the pocket on the left-hand side, takes out the 5-pin, falls late. Is a 10 going to go? Nope, the wood will not reach it. He's got some wood in front of the 10-pin for the spare attempt. Might not be helpful, I don't know. And he taps it, and it goes out in front of the 10 pin, so he does not get a spare. He'll be open in the first box. But he's up against a 10 box with Tim Douglas. And it's a 9. So after 1, Tim Douglas leads 10-9. Again, this is an A division match. The A division is generally bowlers who have a 110 or better average. So this is our cream of the crop of the bowlers here. Currently in the ACST this year, I see the averages here. Rob is averaging 115 and a half, and Tim is averaging 118. So pretty close statistically, the bowlers are. And we'll go through standings later on in the match. Tim's got 9 down. He missed a spare attempt, and he picks up a 9 box. So Tim Douglas has an early lead over Rob Linehan, 25-7 in the first 2 boxes. Rob on the 3rd box, first ball, on the head pin, the right-hand pocket. Rob's left-handed, as you can see, and his pocket is ideally the 1-2. He went across the head pin and came in the 1-3. And he's left with a 6-7-10 split, and he's making a careful study of the wood to see if he can maybe make that work for him. Well, that wood didn't work. So now he just wants to pin out as best as he can here. Not let Tim get too far ahead. Picks up 2, another 9 box, 27 after 3. 8 pins behind Tim Douglas, who's 35 after 3. He's off the head pin this time. He's on the 3 pin, left with the 1-2-6-4 split. And it's a matter of cutting either the pin or the ball over to that back pin. That's what he's going to try to do. A little full on the head pin. And leaves 3 on the deck right now to attempt a 10 box if he can get it. And it's an 8 box. He just picks up the 6 pin. So after 4, Rob Linehan has 35 to Tim Douglas 42. It's a 7-pin game right now. He's up against a spare in the 5th. I know he'd love to mark himself. He's on the head pin really nicely. Picks up 8, everything but the 2 and the 7, a piece of wood behind the 2. It's not in contact. But if he can hit that 2 pin, he might get a spare here. And he's right in between, just off the 2 pin a little bit, not very far. And so he'll be open in the 5th. And it's an 8 box for Rob Linehan. Rob ends the first half with a 43. I know he's not terribly happy with that, so he's going to have to mark coming back. And now we get to see Tim Douglas on the right on lane 18 at Millis, at Ryan's Family Amusements in Millis. And remember, this is a fill ball. Tim is on a spare, and he throws a powerful ball, takes out 6, and so he closes out the first half of the first game with a 58 to Rob Linehan's 43. He's up 15 pins right now. Left with the 4 horsemen right. And he picks it up beautifully. That's how you do that. No explanation needed. So Tim is currently at 68 plus a ball in the 6th. On a fill in the 7th box. First ball is a fill in that 6th frame spare. And throws pretty strong ball, but he's off on the 2 pin. He picks up 6 in his fill, so he's at 74 after 6. But he's left with a 1, the 7, the 8, and the 10. No wood to help. Picks up 2 of them, the 1 and the 7. That was nice. But he's got the 8 and the 10. And I'm sure he's just going to go for 1. Goes for the 8 pin, tries to take something off the wall with the wood. Nothing goes. An 8 box. After 7, Tim Douglas has 82. All right, Douglas coming into the 8th box. He drops 9. Powerful ball. Only the 6 pin remains standing. Going for the spare. He's got it. That's his 4th mark of this string. That puts him at 92 plus a ball after 8. All right, going into the 9th box. Another fill and nice pocket shot. Takes out everything but the 5, the 8, and the 9 for a triangle in the middle. That gives him 99 after 8 boxes. Trying to pick up a triangle for the spare. He does it. That's 2 in a row. That's his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th mark of this string. He's at 109 plus a ball in the 9th box. Tim Douglas is sparing away. He's doing a great job here. Really putting the pressure on Rob. Into fill ball, coming into the 10th. And I don't believe that. He's in the 1-3 pocket. And the pins just don't carry, so he only picks up 3 in the fill, so 112 after 9. And he's got a mess down there. I don't know how he's going to shoot that. What do we have there? We have the 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, and a piece of wood. He's going to use the wood, see if he can make it dance. Not enough. So he'll be open in the 10th and just try to get a couple more hit pins here. Gets 1, 7 in the 10th. He's at 119 for his first string. So Tim Douglas closes with a 119. Rob's at 43 at the half. So he needs, let's see, he needs 69 pins to tie, 70 to win. I've seen Rob Linehan do that a lot of times, sometimes against me. So I wouldn't count him out yet. He's down 15 pins at the half. Doing a little maintenance here. We've got some wood in the gutter. And you're going to want a clear score there too. So I know you can't see the scoreboard. If you haven't been to Ryan's Family Amusements, it is automatic scoring.
So Tim threw a 627 last night at League at Union Street.
That's great. I had the pleasure this summer in the Outrun the Bear teams event to be bowling on the same lane with Tim and his brother, my daughter, my son-in-law, and another person were Dave McNamara were on our team, and they lasted a long time. I can't recall if they won or not. Rob, nice spare attempt, takes out everything but the 10 pin. He'll be open in the 6th box. He's up against a spare in this box, so he'll lose some ground. And that's a foul, I think. It is. So it's a 9 box for Linehan, 52 after 6. That puts him down 22 pins from Tim Douglas' position in the same box. Rob coming into 7th box. Definitely wants to strike here, or this will be fine if he can get it. Drops 9, has some wood with just a 5 pin standing. Wood's not touching the 5. It could get deflected around, but it doesn't. And Rob's got his first spare. So in the 7th box, he's at 62 plus a ball. Tim is at 82 in the 7th box, so any damage he can do to that lead, he will make his best effort here. First ball. Rob's just out for the pocket, but he gets some great action. He has an 8 fill, so now he's within 12 of Tim. Tim is at 82 in the 7th box, and Rob's now at 70. But he's up against the spare. He needs to make that, and he does not. So Tim had a spare 7 in the 8, so Rob will lose at least 7 pins in the score. So Rob's at 80. Tim Douglas is at 99 after 8. Okay, in the 9th box, must mark. And he throws a great ball, and is that going to be a strike? Oh, he's got that pin wiggling, but it doesn't go. He needs to catch up here. He needs 39 pins in 2 boxes, so strikes have to be involved here. And he does not get that. So in the 9th box, Linehan ends up with a 9. He's at 89 after 9. And if he can tie with a triple strike. He can't win this string. And Tim Douglas will win this string. Rob's got a awful split here, the 7 and the 9. And makes a great effort off the wood to try to carry something over. It's not just about the matches, so even if you know you're going to lose a match, you want to pin as much as you can because total is worth 4 points. So Rob ends up with a 9 box. He's at 98, and Tim Douglas takes the first string, 119 to 98. Bob, can I have my pen there, please? All right, so Tim Douglas has the first 2 points. And we go into the second string. Tim Douglas on the left-hand side. And I believe Bob's fixed the scoreboard. I know a couple of people have commented about that. All right, Tim Douglas, first ball of game 2, and he gets a spread eagle, just takes out the middle 4. Can't think of a bowler who particularly likes this sleeve. I know I hate it. And there's 3. Tries to carry one of those pins over. It doesn't go. He'll be open for this box. And Tim closes out the first box with an 8 box. So again, both of these bowlers are A division ACST bowlers, and Rob is in Group 2 with Justin Waters, Jake Cook, and Chris Parkinson, and currently he's in second place in that group with a record of 80 points in the win column, 68 in the loss column, 60 in the loss column. And Tim throws off on the 2-pin, takes out 4. Off to the right, just gets a few more. He's got 3 left. Tim Douglas is in Group 3 with Stephen Dan Gauthier and Pete Riscatelli, and he's in second also. Nice 10 box for Tim Douglas. So Tim is a few matches behind where Rob is currently, so he hasn't accumulated as many points. But his standings currently are 51 and 33, not including the 2 points he just picked up. Tim in box 3, almost another spread eagle. But he's got the 2, 3, 4, 6, 10 with a piece of wood between the 2 front pins. We'll see what he does with that. See if he can make a spare here. Right on the 3-pin. Nice try, but the 2 and the 4 do not go down. And a 10 box. So Tim is at 28 after 3. 2 pins under par. So both bowlers currently in second place in their group, so that puts him in the wild card race at the moment, and Rob is the number 1 bowler in the wild card race in the South, and Tim is number 2. So both are currently in wild card positions. There's a lot of matches still to go, so that could change, but that's where they stand today. Tim hits the 3-pin, takes out everything but the 4 horsemen left and the 10, and he cleans up everything but the head pin in his spare effort. And a 9 box, 37 after 4. He's cooled down a little bit after the last string. Okay, coming into the 5th box. Douglas really wants to mark here. He's at 37 after 4. Off on the 3-pin. It's left with the 4 horsemen left plus the 8-pin. Makeable spare. And he's on the head pin, a little light, and takes everything but the 4 and the 7. So he'll be open for all 5 boxes this time. Going for a 10. And he's got a 10. So Tim Douglas sits down with 47 after 5 in game 2. And now Rob Linehan will come up in lane 17 at Ryan's Family Amusements in Millis. Ryan's is a great place to bowl or bring your family. We've got quite a few open bowlers here right now for a late Wednesday afternoon. On the weekends, this place is hopping. Linehan, first ball in the pocket. And everything goes but the 10-pin. The 10-pin standing there all alone. Just 1 pin to shoot at. And Rob's all over it. Starts with the spare in box 1. So Rob right now has a lead at 10 plus this ball to 8. And he puts it in the pocket and only takes out 6. A late falling 4-pin. So Rob's first box score is 16 to Tim Douglas's 8. And now he goes for a spare attempt. And what an effort. He was right in there. Probably a tad full on that first pin. Hard to judge, but regardless, the 7-pin didn't go. Does now. He kept it on the lane. That's a 10. 26 after 2 to Tim Douglas, 18. Dodged the bullet. Coming in the third box, Linehan in the pocket, a little full on the head pin. Has a 7 drop. He's left with the 2, 4, and 10. He's probably going to want to cut the 2-pin over to the 10. If he can do that, he's got a chance of making his spare. He's going to try to deflect the ball around it instead. Or at least that's what he did. I don't know if he tried to. Took out 2. Apparently Rob can hear me talking about him. And a 9 box for Rob Linehan. 35 after 3. What he's saying, in other words, is he meant to do it that way. Fourth box, Linehan in the pocket and drops the strike. First strike of the match. No doubt about that one. He's got a ball just under 30 miles an hour, around 28.8 at the pins. Bobby will probably put out his radar gun shortly and get us at the hand measure. Now we got a first ball in the 5th box. That looked good coming into the opposite pocket, but it only took 6. But remember, on the strike, there's 2 balls in the fill. So he's got a chance for a good fill here. Build up a substantial lead in the string. Rob's taking a moment to try to figure out how to make all 10 pins go. I don't know. He's on the wood. Gets 2. All right, he sent the wood flying. That was a great idea. And it's 8 in the fill for 53 after 4. And see if he can get a 10 box. And he has a 9. So Rob Linehan sits down with a 62 half with a 15-pin lead over Tim Douglas. I strongly suspect, knowing both of these bowlers, that we're going to see the lead swap back and forth quite a bit during this match. All right, Tim Douglas coming up in the 6th box on lane 18. Throws a ball that looked like it was going to be a strike, but he's left with the 6 and the 7. The numbers are close, but the pins are far apart. It's a nasty split. He's going to try to carry that pin over to the left. And he does it. What a shot. That was a beautiful shot. Did not use the wood at all. Just cut the pin over. And that's a spare in the 6th box. That puts him at 57 in a ball. Rob Linehan, of course, is a 62 after 5 boxes. So Tim will probably need at least a couple marks in this half. Here we go. First ball. Off in a 3-pin, but he gets some late action, and he takes out 8. That gives him 65 after 6. And he only has a 6 and a 10 with no wood to work with to make this spare. All over it. 2 spares in a row, 75 and a ball. All right, now we're coming up into the 8th box here, and Tim Douglas on lane 18 is going to, this first ball will fill his spare in the 7th. So he currently is a 75. He wants to make sure he's got the right ball here. And here we go. On the head pin, and it's a 9. 84 after 7 with only 1 pin to shoot at and some wood that may be helpful. It's not slanted quite the way I'd like it, but Tim's a better bowler than I am. He could probably make this work. And he does, without a doubt. 94 after 8 plus a ball. And again, Linehan sat down with a 62. So Tim has definitely made up a lot of ground from being 15 pins behind. First ball in the pocket. Again, a 9 fill. Got a pin moving there, maybe a late strike. And is it going to go? Is it going to go? There it goes. That's a strike. That's a strike. That may be one of the slowest strikes we've ever seen here. So that's a 10 fill on the spare, 104 after 8, and in the 9th box he's at 114 plus these 2 balls. He's all marked so far in the second half. And just off to the left a little, takes 7 on his first ball. He's having a remarkable half here. And on the middle pin, that's an 8 fill on the strike, so that gives him 122 at 9. And then whatever this box ends up being, it's going to be an open box. And a 9. So Tim Douglas sits down with 131 in his string. And that's a great half. That's an 84 half, my friends. But Linehan's on, drops 9. He's up against 4 marks in a row, but fortunately he starts with a 15-pin lead. They were 62 and 47 at the half. Linehan with a spare in the 6, matching Douglas's spare. So Rob Linehan will be 72 plus a ball. Tim Douglas is a 65 in this box. On the fill, he's also on the head pin, a 6 fill. That gives Rob Linehan 78, a 13-pin lead at this point in the string. He's also up against a spare in this box, but he's going to be open. So he'll lose a little ground to Douglas, who had a 19 box in the 7th. And right now, every pin matters. An 8 box, 86. So that cuts Linehan's lead to 2 pins, and he's up against a 20 box in the 8th. So Linehan must mark here. And he throws a great ball, leaves a triangle left. 4, 7, 8. Has to mark in this one. There's only 1 open box, and that's the 10th. And Linehan's got the spare, so that gives him 96 plus a ball. At this point in his game, Tim Douglas was at 104, so Rob needs an 8 fill to tie. Anything over 8 puts him ahead for the moment. And he's off to the right in my favorite alternate head pin, which is the 6, and it only adds 3. So he's at 99 after 8, down 5 pins from Linehan, and he's up against a strike 8 in the 9th box. Needs his spare. And he's got it. What a shot. Getting a real treat here. We've seen some excellent bowling from both of these guys. And Bob just put his radar gun on Rob, and that was a 33-mile-an-hour ball. Linehan picks up 6 in the fill, puts him at 115 to Tim Douglas 122, and he has to spare this one. If he spares, he's got a 125, plus he would need a 6 box to tie, so Tim Douglas will win this string too. But Linehan's putting on a good show as well. And Rob closes out with a 9 box for 124 to Tim Douglas 131. So far Tim Douglas has 4 points and Rob has no points. Tim Douglas threw a 250 for 2. And Rob Linehan has 222 for 2. So Tim Douglas is averaging 125 so far. And Rob's not doing too bad either. He's rolling a 111 average. And Tim Douglas starts with a strike. Another slow motion strike. He likes to keep us in suspense, apparently. Jack Shearer asks a great question regarding the radar gun. Were we measuring the ball or Rob Linehan's run up to the line? And a lot of times I've joked about Rob that one of the big mysteries is how many steps does Rob Linehan take. I think the consensus is 5. And among other bowlers, Rob is known as the Roadrunner. Tim Douglas drops another strike, a double. That one there was no waiting for.
That was a real one.
So far, 2 boxes in, Douglas is nothing but strikes. We'll see how long he can keep that going.
I think round 1 will do, Timmy. What? I think round 1 will do.
And Tim's waiting for a specific ball to come back. He's going for a triple. He's in there, and he gets it. It's a triple strike. There's a turkey for everybody. The other night, last Wednesday night in league play, Mike Capone threw a 4-bagger against my team. As Chris Jones says, yes, Timmy triples. All right, he's got to have that specific ball. I wouldn't change balls if I was him. And trying for 4. In the pocket. Does not go, but he gets 7. So his first box is a 30 box, and in the second box he's at 57, trying to make a 10 fill for his 3rd strike. On the 2-4-6. Just picks up 1, so it's an 8 fill after 3. Tim Douglas is at 75 after 3 boxes. That's amazing. Douglas leaves with an 8 box. Perfect, no more. 83 after 4. If he gets another mark, he could have 100 half here. And a full on the head pin, just takes out the 1 and the 4. The head pin can be your friend, but sometimes it can be like your worst enemy. So he's just got the 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Spread eagle plus a couple. What an effort. He picks up everything but the right hand 3. So we know he's going to be over 90 for the half. And 8 box, Tim Douglas sits down with a 92 half. It's a 9 box, I'm sorry, not an 8 box. Rob Linehan has his work cut out for him here.
Ask him the 2 points now for this one. Let's go out there next game.
It's tough when your opponent throws a 92 half, starts off with a triple strike. Rob tries to match it. He puts it in the left-hand pocket and just takes out 5. And on the spare attempt, he's off to the right a little bit on the 6 pin. He's left with the 3 and the 5 pin together. Best bet's make a 10 and just go forward from there. And Rob ends up with a 9 box. Tim was at 30 in his first box, so Rob is 21 pins behind in the first box. A lot of bowling in this match to go, in this game. But it goes without saying that Rob Linehan needs to throw a bunch of marks here. Okay, on the second box. First ball, Linehan is off on the 2 pin. He's got a bit of a mess there. It's the 1, 7, 8, 10. He's got some wood that, frankly, I don't think that's going to help very much, but it might. On the head pin, just knocks it around the 10, doesn't take any friends with it. 7, 8, and 10 pin left. You know, Rob's studying this, trying to figure out how can I get more than 1 pin here. And he's going to use the wood, and that just gets the 10, and 8 box 17 after 2. At the second box, Tim Douglas is at 57. So Rob is behind by 40 pins right now after only 2 boxes. He can make a lot of dents in that with some big marks here, and Rob's capable of that. First ball on the third, on a 3 pin, takes out 4. Rob waiting for his ball to come back. He's got the 4 horsemen left plus the 5 and the 8. Off to the left, just leaves the 1, 2, and 5. And a 9 box, so Rob Linehan after 3 is at 26. 49 pins behind Tim Douglas, 75 after 3. On his first ball in box 4, Linehan's off to the right of the head pin just a tad. Takes out 6, and he's left with the 1, 2, 8, and 10. Spare attempt. Just the 2 pin goes. And your opponent throws a triple strike. That's really tough to overcome. Rob just gently kisses the head pin with the ball, being very careful not to cause damage. And has an 8 box, 34 after 4. Still 49 pins behind. And he's on the 2 pin that time. He's got the 4 horsemen right plus a 7 pin. And he's in there, and I can't believe that 7 didn't go. That was a great shot. But unfortunately, he's going to be open in box 5. But he gets the 10. After 5 boxes in game 3, Tim Douglas has a substantial lead, 92, to Rob Linehan's more grounded 44. Let's see if Tim can continue to put on a show for us. First ball in box 6. He's not too far off of making a strike on that one. Drops 8. Liz left with the 6 and the 10 pin. And it's a mark. That's his 4th mark in 6 boxes. 102 plus a ball in the 6th. Tim Douglas putting on a clinic of candlepin bowling today. If we can get his ball speed, that would be great. On the fill in the 7th box, he's on the head pin, little too full. Takes out 5, that gives him 107 after 6. And he has a 3 and a 2, which is the 3, 4, 6, 7, 10. Tough spare, it's makeable. He does the right stuff, is right in the pocket, and that ball was at 42 miles an hour. The system here at Ryan's only measures up to 40, so he's throwing faster than the system can measure, and he ends up with a 9 box, 116 at 7. Okay, in the 8th box. Big ball. It's left with the 2 and the 10. It's going to be a tough one. Probably have to take it off the wall because that wood's flat behind the 2 pin. I don't think that's going to naturally go to the 10. And that's what he tries to do. He takes it off the wall and he throws the pin over to the 10, but it ends up behind the 10. That was a great effort. And a 10 pin, or 10 box, so 126 after 8 boxes here for Tim Douglas. A spare gives him a shot for a 150 game. First ball in the 9th box. He's on the head pin again. This time he gets a little bit more action, but he's got an ugly situation here. It's the 6, 7, 10. And a piece of wood in front of the 2 on the right that looks like it's destined to deflect the ball. My guess. Let's see if he can make this. Oh, just about. The power of his ball is such that he was able to drive that back and take out the 2 and send something over to the left. It didn't hit the 7, but it was a great effort. And there's a 9 box, 135 after 9 for Tim Douglas. He's putting Rob Linehan in a situation where Rob's got to hit 100 half to get close. 10th box. That time he took out the 2. Is the 10 going to go in one of his slow motion strikes? And he wiggles it, but he doesn't knock it down. But he's got a 1 pin spare to make with his whole snowplow in front of it. And it goes, without a doubt, 145 plus a ball. With a decent spare, Tim's in the 150s. And on his fill. He punches out, but he gets a little extra action. He's a 6. Tim Douglas closes the 3rd string with a 151. And we just saw a 400 triple. 401 is Tim Douglas triple. Rob Linehan needs 106 pins to tie. So that's going to take a lot of marks, and he knows it. And Rob is off on a 6 pin in a 6 box first ball, trying to pick up the spare, and oh, what an effort. Everything but the 4 pin went down. And Linehan with a 10 box. 54 after 6 Tim Douglas is at 107 after 6. Coming into box 7, trying to do some damage. And Rob Linehan throws a strike, his first mark of this game. Linehan sure would like to throw a triple here, but one at a time.
Bowling gods are with Timmy and not me.
All right, there we go. Now the sweep came down. We're waiting for the pins to reset. Had a little trouble hearing him. I'm wearing headphones to monitor my own sound. Rob on his first ball in the fill, and he takes out 7. It looked like a strike ball from here. He's a 64 plus 2 balls. And he misses wide to the right, so it's just a 7 fill. And that leaves him with a respectable 71 after 7. And he picked up 2 more. Is he going to get 3 more? That's what he wanted to do with the second ball. And 9 box, and he's at 80. At this point, Tim Douglas has a 126, so Rob's down 46 pins through 8 boxes. First ball in the 9th box, he's on the 3 pin. And a late falling another pin, I forget which one it was. It leaves him with the 1-7-8-9. No wood to work with. Off on the 9 pin only. 3 standing, but far apart. And Linehan ends up with a 10 box. That was actually a really cool shot. He picked up the 1-7-8 without any wood. There is a pin in the gutter that'll need to be cleared. Rob Linehan's at 90 after 9. He can't win this string. Tim closed out with the 151, so most he can do at this point is make some damage to Tim's substantial lead. Rob in the 10th box. On a head pin. Takes out 6. He's left with a 2-4-7-10. A little wood in there. May be helpful. And on a spare attempt in the 10th box. And everything but the 2 pin. So he needs this pin to get 100. And it's a 9 box. Linehan closes with a 99, and that gives him 321 in his total, 107 average so far. Tim Douglas has a 401 triple with a triple. So he's up 80 pins after 3 boxes, or after 3 strings to Linehan. Coming into game 4, Tim Douglas on the left-hand lane, lane 17, first ball of the 4th string. And he's on the head pin, does not get a strike. I think he was a tad light. He's left with the 2 and the 7. And just a 7 pin. And he's through the hole, so it's a 9 box in the first box of the 4th string. Okay, box number 2, ball number 1, game number 4. And Douglas is in the pocket beautifully, but the 5 and the 7 decline the opportunity to fall down with all their friends. So he just has a 5-7 split with some wood that may or may not be helpful here. And it's not helpful. It takes out the 5, but the 7 stays up all by itself for a potential 10 box. And he's got it. So 19 after 2 for Tim Douglas in game 4. Box 3. Douglas first ball. He's off on the 3-pin, but he gets some great action here. And that 9-pin is thinking about falling, but it's decided to stay up. Triple wood in front of that pin. I think it's going to go, but you never know when you have triple wood. Things could get a little crazy down there, but he's got a lot of power coming through, and he takes it with no question. A spare in the third, 29 plus a ball in the third box. Now the fill ball in the fourth. 7, 8, 37 after 3, with just the 3 and the 6 to shoot at. All over it. 47 and a ball. Douglas is heated up a bit. 47 in the ball after 4. And he's not happy about that first ball. He was on the 6-pin. Gave him a 3 fill, so he's at 50 after 4. Trying to pick up a 7-pin spare, and he does it without a doubt. 3 spares in a row, 60 in the ball after 5. Not bad. It's not in the 90s, but it's not bad at all. So Linehan comes up. He's got a mark, but it's not an impossible half to match. See if he can get ahead and make it cut into that 80-pin lead that Douglas has in total. And Linehan is on the 2-pin. He takes out everything but the 4 horsemen right, 1, 3, 6, 10. And Linehan gets it. The wood came off the wall, fortunately for him. So he starts with a spare in the first, and he's got a bleed over Tim so far. Nice ball in the right-hand pocket, but gives him only 5, so he's 15 after 1 to Tim Douglas 9 after 1. But he's got a 3 and 2 split here. Tries to take something off the wall, doesn't go, so he'll be open in box 2. And he's going for a 10 here. He gets a 10. Rob Linehan is at 25 after 2. Tim Douglas is at 19 after 2. But then Tim threw 3 spares in a row. So Rob's got a foundational lead, but he's got a little ways to go here to catch up. Linehan. I thought that was going to be a strike for sure. It was right in that pocket. Everything but the 10. Single pin spare attempt. Off to the right. And that was a foul. That didn't count, so it'll be a 9 box. He'll be at 34 after 3. Down 3 pins from Tim Douglas, 37 after 3. Okay, box number 4. He's down 3 pins. It's doable, but he's up against 2 marks. And he's on the 6 pin. 3 only. And he's in that pocket. Is that enough to take it all? No. Everything but the 2 and the 7. A little bit light. He had the right idea. And he picks up a nice 10 box for 44 after 4. He's down 6 pins from Tim Douglas, 50 after 4. And he's up against another spare. And he's in the pocket nicely. And he's left with a 7-10 split and some wood in the middle and the wood on the right. kind of a tough situation because the wood on the right doesn't look like it would do much more than take out the 10. The wood in the middle looks fairly well positioned, but it's going to get blocked by the wood on the right, I think. He's going for try to split the wood. And boy, he gets a lot of action off of that, and the 7-pin fails to go. And there it is, a 10 box for Rob Linehan. So he's at 54 at 5. Tim Douglas is at 60 plus a ball after 5. So right now, Tim has a 6-pin lead plus the results of this first ball. So here we go. Coming in his 6 box, first ball. This is a fill ball. This will be given 60 plus whatever this is. And it's 4. He gets a spread eagle. So Tim Douglas closes out his first half with the 64. Linehan's at 54. So he has a 10-pin lead. Really tough spare to make, spread eagle. He does everything right on that one, and he gets everything but the 7-pin. That's a really good result from a second ball on a spread eagle. And a nice 10-74 after 6. 14 over par. Tim is in the left-hand pocket, drops 7. And he's also a 5-stepper, I notice. I think these two bowlers actually have very similar approaches. He's going for the triangle on the right. Just the middle pin goes. I hate that myself. You get on the object pin, and it just carries through. It just punches out. So just a 2-pin. He's going to go for 1. 9 box, 83 after 7. Okay, it's coming into the 8th box of the 4th string. Tim Douglas has 83 after 7. At the half, he's got a 10-pin lead over Rob Linehan. And here we go. He's all over it. No doubt about that one. That's a strike for Tim Douglas. No lingering pins, making us guess whether that's going to be a strike or not. That gives him 93 plus 2 fill balls. You saw what he did with his after he got his first strike in the 3rd game. And he's all over the head pin again. And that's a 9 drop so far. Is it going to kick out to 7? It sure is thinking it. That's something else. He really gets that wood moving around down there. And Tim has a spare, which also is a 10 fill. So that gives Tim a 103 after 8, 113 after 9, plus the first ball in the 10th. And here we go. Just off, but he drops 8, and that means he's got 121 after 9. Douglas picks up another spare in the 10th. That gives him 131 plus a ball. Tim Douglas is putting on quite a bowling show today for us. Okay, one more ball. Strike would give him 141. And it's 7. Is it going to be 8? 7? So Douglas ends up with a 138 in the 4th. Another good game. So far Tim has had 119, 131, 151, and 138. It gives him a total of 139, or 539 for 4 games. Linehan needs 84 pins to catch up. And he starts with a 5 drop. He's left with a leave named after Bob Cleary, who used to bowl in a league I was in Natick. That's the Cleary, 4 horsemen plus 1. And he makes a great effort. The 4 horsemen go, but the pin in the back doesn't. And Rob picks up a 10 box. That puts him at 64 after 6. At the moment, he's 10 pins behind Tim Douglas as of the 6th box. He's got quite a ways to go here. And he gets the curse of the spread eagle. Put the ball in the head pin, take out just 4. 3 and 3. That's something you don't see in 10 pin. And just picks 1 on the left-hand side. Trying to get as big of a box as he can here. He gets an 8 box, 72 after 7. Tim Douglas is at 83 after 7. And another one. He's all over the head pin. Just a little too full, and that's what happens. He needs to pick up a lot of pins right now. 62 or 66 pins to tie in 3 boxes. So he really has to mark in all 3, and that's not going to happen. And a nice 9 box, 81 after 8. 2 boxes to go. And he's going to need about, he's got to strike out here. Well, there's 1 strike. He's going to make it a game here. If he can pull off a triple here, that would give him 111 in the 9th. Still not enough, but then there'd be 2 strikes in the 10th. So that'd give him 131 plus another ball. He needs to triple plus a 7 to tie. Second ball. It's a double! Rob Linehan is giving it his best. Not going down without a fight. This boy's got spirit. But he needs another strike and at least 7 to tie. Linehan's in there. Oh, come on. Gets 8. 109 after 9. The best he can do right now is a 129 if he gets both of these pins, which is a great comeback, but not going to be enough. And he gets neither of the pins, so Rob Linehan's going to close out with a 127, which is a respectable string. But Tim Douglas with his 138 picks up another 2 points. The totals right now, Linehan has 448 for 4 games. And Tim Douglas has 539 for 4 games. So he's got a substantial lead. Somebody's asking here about the odds for 700. I don't know. It could happen. Douglas, first ball in the 5th and final box, and Tim so far has all 8 points that have been awarded. Game 1, he won 119 and 98. Game 2, he won 131 to 124. Game 3, it was 151 to 99, and Game 4, 138 to 127 on a spare attempt. Great effort. The 7, 8, 6, and 10 are left. And 2 more for an $8 to start. 8 after the first. Box 2 of game 5 for Tim Douglas. In the pocket. Looked like a potential strike ball, but he's left with 2 and 2. 2, 4, 6, and 10. He's got to cut the 2-pin over to catch those. Tries to take it off the wall, I think, unless he just missed. But he missed both pins. And a 6-box, 14 after 2. Okay, box 3. Douglas is in the left side. Doesn't hit the head pin. Has a 1, 3, 6, 7. Got to get something going over to the 7 pin, either a ball or the wood or the pins. He's in it, he takes it, puts a 1 pin over on the 7, beautifully done as a split. And that's a spare, and the 3rd box that gives Tim Douglas 24 plus a ball after 3. Now coming up into the 4th box. On the fill. Douglas in the pocket. Takes out 8. Late follow of the 5 pin. He's got the 7-10 split with some wood on the right and a piece of wood right looking at him. Oh, what an effort on a 7-10 split. That was beautiful, but it didn't take it. He's at 32 after 3. And he'll be at either 41 or 42 after 4. That's 42. It's 10 bucks. Tim Douglas 42 on the 4th box. Coming into the 5th box before the break. He's off the head pin, and he takes out everything but the 1, 4, 7. There's wood between the 4 and the 7. The 4 pin is leaning a little, but it's not going to fall. He needs to take the ball off the head pin or the head pin over into there. He's going on the right side, and that worked. Beautiful spare. That was beautifully done. I wish we had instant replay. And Tim Douglas sits down with 52 plus a ball, and Rob Linehan coming up, trying to take at least a couple of points here. It's a tall order to take total right now because he's down on total by 111 pins. On the head pin for the first ball of the 5th game, and he leaves the 2, 4, 7, 9. I believe that is. Splits it over and carries the first pin over, and it just brushes the 9 pin, but not enough to knock it over. Beautiful shot. Just didn't go in his favor. But he makes a 10. 10 in the first box for Rob Linehan. Tim Douglas had 8. He's up 2 pins right now. And second box, all over the head pin. It's a little full, but not full enough to punch out, but he's left with the 7, 8, and 10. Some wood in front of the left 2. And he carried the 8 pin over, but it went behind the 10 pin. That was a great effort on that one. See if you can get a 10 box. And a 9 box. Rob Linehan at 19 after 2 to Tim Douglas 14 after 2, but he's up against a spare. First ball of the third box, and Linehan's off to the right, but has a nice cluster there. 1, 2, 4, and 8. Split in between the back two pins. It's a very makeable spare. Got to hit the head pin though, and he's off to the left, and he's just left with the 1 and a 4 pin. Gets just the head pin. It's a 9 box, 28 after 3. He's now down 4 pins from Tim Douglas, who's at 32 after 3. Going to the fourth box, looking for a mark. On the 3 pin, he's got the same cluster as the last time. 1, 2, 4, and 8. No wood this time. He's on the head pin, and he's got the spare. That's how you do that.
Beautiful shot.
Okay, coming in the fifth box on the fill. Just off the head pin, gets the 5 in the fill, so he's 1 pin over Tim Douglas, 43 to 42 in the fourth box. And he has a 4 horseman right plus a 7 pin. Try to go on the inside with that one. Just takes out the 7 pin after he impacted the wood. And that should have been a 10 box in my opinion, but it didn't. The last 2 pins didn't go. It's an 8 box. So he's at 51 in the fifth, and Douglas is at 52 plus this ball. So right now Tim has a 1 pin lead, but he's got a fill to put in on top of that. On the fill. And everything but the 8 pin goes. It's a 9 fill, 61 after 5. A 10 pin lead over Rob Linehan after 5 boxes. Waiting for the wood to settle. So he's just got the 8 pin, and it'll be interesting to see if he goes for the wood or the pin. Straight at the pin, and he misses to the left. So he'll be open in the 6th. This time he went for the wood, and it worked. And that was a 10 box. 71 after 6, 11 over par. Seventh box. And a strike. I lost count of how many strikes Tim Douglas has today, but it's a bunch. 81 plus 2 balls.
610. He's at 610 now.
Yeah, so right now, Tim is over 600. He's at 610 plus this fill plus 3 more boxes. And that's for the total of 5 games. On a fill on a strike, the first ball is worth 4 pins. 4 horsemen right, plus a 7 and the 9. Got to make things dance if he wants a spare. And that he does, but everything but the 7 goes. That's 9 in his strike. That gives him 90 after 7. And a lonely 7 pin standing there waiting to be knocked down. And he's got it at a 10 box, 100 after 8. In total so far, Tim is at 639, plus he has 2 more boxes to go. Off to the right on the 6 pin. Just takes out 3. He's got 2 rows there, the 4 horsemen, and behind it a row of 3. Douglas is all over it for a spare in the ninth. 110 plus a ball. And going for the fill in the 10th box and final box of this match. And he fills his spare with 7, maybe 8. It's going to be 7. 117 after 9 boxes. And just a 3, 6, 10 to shoot at. And he leaves a 3-pin. And he's got a 10 box to close this game with a 127. And a total for 5 strings of 666. Thank you, Bob. I didn't have to do the math that time.
I don't want to like throw one somewhere.
You throw 168 half.
168 half. That's it. Only 168 half.
So Rob's challenge now, in order to take total, he needs a 168 half. Never seen it done before. I've seen somebody come close to that. When Jake Cook threw a 5-strike in a row, a 5-bagger against me in a league match. Rob is on the 3-pin, takes out 3, or is on a 2-pin, takes out 3, and he's back through that same hole. Definitely does not want to do that. So realistically, to take this string, I don't know if it's realistic to take the total. Rob will need, in these 5 boxes, a total of 76 pins, and he just picked up 7 of them. So he's at 58 after 6. Needs to mark out all the way through. And that's a nice ball. Is it going to be a strike? Nope, just a 9. And that piece of wood, really, he wants that out of there? Almost would have been better if it stayed right in front of the pin, because then he could hit that. It's got the same diameter as the pin itself. He's going for that, and it goes around it.
I thought that was the right shot. I love that shot.
Very frustrating when that happens. Hit the ball right on there. The first ball he thought should have been a strike for sure. And then he's on the pin for a 10 box, 68 after 7. 3 boxes to go to pick up 59 pins to tie. And there's another 9. Again, a ball that probably should have been a strike. Didn't go on the 10 pin, so he's unhappy that he didn't get a 9 fill in the spare. But this time he gets a spare. That gives him 78 in a ball. If he gets a strike here, he can move within 12 pins of where Tim is. But he's up against a strike 7 in the or spare 7 in the 9th. Off onto the 6-pin, and when you do that, you usually get 3, and that's what they got. 81 after 8. We saw Tim spare this, and now we've seen Rob spare that. Beautifully done. Best possible outcome of that. 91 plus a ball up against Tim Douglas, 117 at the 9th box. And about the worst thing you can have happen in that situation is you get a half Worcester left, so that gives him a 2 fill, 93 after 9, and it's really not possible at all for him to win this string. But he's going to try to go out with a respectable finish. Takes out 8 on the first ball. A second ball takes out 6 more, 2 on the first, 6 on the second, and no more. So that's an 8 box. Rob Linehan ends up with a 101. That's a respectable 549 total. And Tim Douglas will sweep this match and be awarded 14 points to Rob's no points in this match. So to recap, Tim Douglas won all 5 strings, 119 to 98, 131 to 124, 151 to 99, 138 to 127, and 127 to 101 with a total of 666 to 549. Tim Douglas wins the match. Thank you for joining us. Again, this is Dan Castle from Ryan's Family Amusement in Millis, Massachusetts, here with Bob Lee.